just give you an impression of just how beautiful the city was. We had dinner, good night's sleep, and then up the next morning to depart from Lyon train station for a few trains through France. And it didn't seem long at all until we were sailing past the Lake Geneva. And believe me, Lake Geneva just took a couple of salads back to our room. Walking back up the hill to our hotel, the roads were much quieter. There is no traffic here, by the way. It's just little buggies, no cars in Zermatt, so that was a nice change. At this point, I really felt like I was on holidays. And look at this McDonald's, by the way. They clearly made sure that McDonald's wasn't going to let Zermatt's high street down. Probably the nicest McDonald's I've ever seen. So we turned in, woke up at 7 o'clock the next morning, hoping to get a view of the Matterhorn. There it is, pink in the morning sun. So we had breakfast and just couldn't take my eyes off. It had gone back to white at this stage as the sun had risen. The hotel owner told us they call it sunrise when the Matterhorn is pink. They don't see sunrise as a rule, so they gauge it when the Matterhorn goes pink. And again, more views as we walk down to the train station, just making the most of that view and the icy river. Such a beautiful colour. Glacier, I suppose you would call it. And we were on the Glacier Express. It's been on my bucket list for years and I felt quite emotional. We had an Interrail pass, a first class pass, but we had to pay a reservation fee for the Glacier Express. But it was so worth it. You don't have to get the Glacier Express. The train we came up to Zermatt on the night before was included in our Interrail. But it is all about the experience, and the coaches certainly feel really special. They've got panoramic glass roofs, so you get excellent views. And we opted for a dining package, so we were served this really delicious sort of goulash. It was a 4-course actually, so we had salad to start, and that's the glass views I was telling you about on the roof. So you really do get a wonderful view, and you can see the train as it goes around corners, and you're served at your table with drinks, snacks and souvenirs if you want them. And then the dessert, a pineapple, I think it was pineapple mousse cake. Very delicate, very delicious, and I could probably have eaten another one as well. We travelled from Zermatt to St Moritz on the Glacier Express, and it is a long day. It was 8 hours, but in conditions like this of absolute comfort, it really was not a problem at all. It was a lovely day, and the views got better and better as the train went up and up and up, and then down and down and down. And you are never far away from a snowy view or the icy rivers. And near the end of the journey we came to this incredible viaduct, and the train went very slowly across, and you could look down the gorge and people were looking up at us and videoing us. It must be quite an iconic sight seeing the Glacier Express cross this particular viaduct, and it was very special being on the train. And then before we knew it, we were in St Moritz. We stayed in the Vienna Inn, which was about a mile or so away from St Moritz, in a very small village called Samedan. And this hotel is a classic. 1858 it was built, and it's maintained its sense of quiet grandeur. Lots of stripped wood hosted skating and skiing parties, and there were photos all around the hotel of big stately weddings and dinner parties and balls from 100 years ago. And this is the room we had, really generous size, lots of windows looking over the village, and yeah, all you could wish for. And you'll notice we bought a bottle of champagne to have on board the Glacier Express, but we didn't really feel comfortable doing that, even though you can take your own drink on board. We didn't see anyone else doing it, so we kept it for the hotel room later. But yeah, I just love the wooden floor. Feels so comfortable to walk on. The bed and a sofa. And my eyes were drawn to these lovely pictures, sort of mid-century look in these pale wood frames. And I do love mid-century art and furniture. While we were away, all the hotels made beds using single quilts folded over in half like this, and I'd never seen that before. But I think it's quite a sensible way if you sleep in a double bed and one of you gets hot and the other doesn't. You've got your own quilt. And I can't think why in the UK we don't use that idea. Maybe we will take that on now we are home. But yeah, again, a beautiful bathroom with oversized sinks and marble tiles, old England, and nice brass fittings as well. These little toiletries were really lovely. A bidet here. I haven't seen a bidet for decades. But yeah, lovely chunky taps and shower fittings, fluffy towels. All in all, a very lovely hotel room. Shame we're not staying here longer. But yeah, patio doors again, and a little mini balcony with a view over snowy mountains and the village and the church below. On the outside you can get a sense of the scale of the hotel and how grand it still is, but would have been, and sort of a sugared almond colour. And we went for a little walk, and as we came back in, I thought I'd show you the reception area. So cosy and carpeted with lots of collections of cosy chairs for small scale. I really enjoyed my breakfast, just gazing around. But I enjoyed my coffee and the cakes. I have a very sweet tooth, and I was really thrilled to have so many beautiful homemade cakes. Yeah, and this birch muesli as well. Look at all these cakes. I had to try them all, of course, but the sort of raspberry one was my favourite. And this one I think was chocolate and pear. And then a sort of a lemon one. Final look around this beautiful room before we join our train again. And last look at the reception before we check out. It doesn't look like the cloud is going to lift. And then a few train journeys later, we are in Austria and in a very small town called Zermatt. And there wasn't very much in the town at all. But the hotel was again a very beautiful, cozy little hotel with a bar area, and I did love on the bar they've got all these crystals and glass. Thought that was very, very tactile looking and decorated very seasonally. So we've got this beautiful bouquet of roses with trailing ivy, and on the wall over here we've got a heart. So not sure if that's from Valentine's Day or whether it's a very early Christmas decoration. And just by the front doors they're getting ready for autumn with the fall display of assorted rather beautiful pumpkins and squash. We had a beautiful breakfast here as well, and I just remembered there was another bowl of mini squash. They're just so cute. A few train journeys the next day, and we were across Austria and in Vienna. This is the hotel we stayed in, more or less downtown Vienna. We had a tram just down the road from this hotel, and it was just 2 stops to get to the main areas of Vienna. This hotel prides itself on its eco-credentials, and it uses solar energy and has grass roofs and pipes air in from outside, and it was again very, very comfortable. It had this most curious bathroom that was sort of in the room, but it did have a privacy curtain that you could pull around. It was a bit like being in a caravan, I suppose, but it was super clean, super modern, and had everything you needed, and toiletries as well. And then behind another glass door was the toilet. So I guess this arrangement wouldn't suit some people, but for us it was absolutely fine. The usual hotel things over here, hair dryers and water, a bottle of wine if you wanted to buy it, and yeah, always water available in reception for you to bring back to your room. And then a window with looking down on a courtyard. And I was really grateful for that mesh because I'd had the windows open in the hotel previously and been bitten. Unfortunately, I react quite badly to insect bites. So yeah, very, very happy to see the mesh here. The hotel, I've got these sort of quirky wall decorations throughout the hotel. Vienna. We did walk around a lot. There are some glorious buildings, but for one reason and another, I mainly took photos. I haven't got much footage to show you of Vienna, but I do have some of these curious underwear displays. So yeah, lots of the hotel and not much of Vienna. We didn't go around many of the palaces. We mainly walked around the old town, the Parliament buildings, and yeah, beautiful. I'm showing you, instead of all the beautiful Vienna buildings, I'm showing you more cakes. Yeah, more homemade cakes, and pretty much everything in the breakfast buffet was organic and homemade, from fresh fruit salads, pickles, cheeses, lots of vegan. So if you're vegan or vegetarian and you're in Vienna, the boutique hotel Stadal was absolutely perfect for you. And as I say, so convenient. And look at the array of things to go on top of your yogurts, seeds and dried fruit galore, organic jams, and for me, more bircher muesli. That was my thing for breakfast. I really did enjoy that. And an even lovelier view for breakfast, looking at the courtyard garden. We stayed in Vienna for 2 nights, so luckily I had 2 beautiful breakfasts in this hotel, so I could try out all the different things that I was too full to try on day 1. The breads and pastries are absolutely incredible, and far more variety than you see back in the UK. And trying to make breakfast run into brunch, had to try a couple of cakes as well. This one was like a poppy seed paste. This was a Viennese finger with chocolate. And that's the one building I did do a little video of. I do apologise for the lack of buildings in Vienna. And another quirky item was this pinball machine that I found in the sort of downstairs area of the hotel. It's an original 1970s made by Bali, and it features Elton John from the film Tommy, I think. So yeah, we were really, really curious about this, so of course I videoed this as well. I thought maybe some of you might be pinball aficionados and would appreciate the artwork on this sort of forerunner to computer games. I hope you enjoyed this episode of our train travel. There's a few more to go, and I did want to take a moment to say a very special thank you to my channel members, Boudica's mom, my very first member, and Anna Pierce, Izzy Binden, and Erin Pomery. Your support